Imagine you're standing in your driveway holding a plate of homemade cookies. The sun's beating down, it's 102 degrees, and you see your mail carrier trudging up the sidewalk, sweat dripping down their forehead. You decide to do something kind. You put out a little table with snacks, cold drinks, and a note that says, "Thanks for keeping us connected." And then 2 days later, a bright yellow HOA violation notice appears on your door. Fine amount? $250. Reason? Unauthorized structure and signage. That was my welcome to the world of petty HOA politics. But what they didn't know was that their $250 fine was about to cost them far, far more. I've always believed in small acts of kindness. When I moved into Willow Creek Estates, a neat, picture-perfect suburban neighborhood, I thought I'd found my forever home. The streets were lined with identical mailboxes, manicured lawns, and seasonal wreaths. On the surface, it was idyllic, the kind of place where you'd expect lemonade stands and block parties. But behind the white fences, there was a shadow. 3 letters that, as I would soon learn, could ruin a perfectly good day. HOA. It started on a Thursday in July. It was one of those heatwave weeks where even the air conditioner sounded like it was begging for mercy. Our mail carrier, Jackie, is this cheerful woman in her late 40s. She's been on this route for years, knows everyone's names, kids, and even the names of their dogs. That day, I watched her from my window, walking slower than usual, wiping her forehead with her sleeve. That's when I thought, I've got bottled water in the fridge, I've got granola bars. Why not share? I grabbed a small folding table from the garage, set it at the edge of my driveway, and laid out a cooler with ice and bottled water, a basket of granola bars, a small container of cookies I'd baked the night before, and a hand-lettered sign that said, "Thank you for what you do. Please take one." It wasn't for show. It was just kindness, the kind I thought this neighborhood would appreciate. 2 days later, I found it, a neon yellow paper flapping against my front door. HOA violation notice. Violation type, unauthorized signage and structure. Penalty, $250. Compliance deadline, 3 days. There was also a typed paragraph quoting the community bylaws, "No signage of any kind shall be displayed without prior written approval of the Architectural Review Committee," and something about temporary structures impacting visual uniformity. I stood there, paper in hand, half laughing and half boiling inside. This wasn't a banner. It wasn't a billboard. It was a cooler with water bottles, and somehow that was enough to unleash the wrath of the HOA. I called the number listed for the HOA office, thinking surely this was just a misunderstanding. "Willow Creek HOA, this is Marcia," a clipped voice answered. "Yes, hi. I just received a violation notice for a small snack table I put out for the mail carrier." "Ah, yes," she cut me off. "That's a non-compliant display. It violates Section 4.3.2 of the bylaws. You'll need to remove it immediately and pay the fine." Even if it's for public service workers, it's not advertising. Any object placed in the front yard is considered a structure or signage. Uniformity is our top priority. I can email you the bylaw document if you'd like. "No, I'd like you to use some common sense," I snapped before hanging up. I thought maybe, if I explained in writing, they'd let it slide. I sent an email outlining that it was just temporary, just for the mail carrier during the heat wave. I even included a photo of the table, neat, unobtrusive, and tucked neatly against the edge of my driveway. 2 hours later, I got the reply, "Thank you for your email. The board has reviewed your explanation. The violation remains valid. Please remit payment by the stated deadline to avoid further penalties." That was it. No empathy, no discussion. And then they made their move. 3 days later, the compliance deadline, I got a second notice. Another $250 fine for failure to remove non-compliant display. Total now, $500. I looked out the window. The table was gone. I had already put it away the day I got the first notice, which meant they were fining me for something that wasn't even there. I felt my stomach turn. This wasn't just about a table. This was about control. That night, I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, scrolling through stories of other HOA nightmares. People fined for flags, people sued for paint colors, people who lost their homes over a few $100s in dues. And then I read one line that stuck with me. The best way to fight an HOA bully is to shine a spotlight on them. That's when the idea hit me. If they didn't want me leaving snacks for one person, I'd leave them for everyone. I went big. I posted on our neighborhood Facebook group, "Free community snack table. All are welcome. Cold drinks, snacks, and fruit available at my driveway. Every Saturday from 9 to 5. Let's beat the heat together." The next weekend, I set up 2 tables, one with drinks and snacks, one with fresh fruit, lawn chairs, umbrellas, music playing quietly from a Bluetooth speaker, and I put up a brand new sign, "A kindness zone, no HOA permission required." Within an hour, people started showing up, not just mail carriers but neighbors I'd never spoken to before, kids riding by on bikes, delivery drivers, even landscapers stopping for cold drinks. By noon, someone had posted photos on social media. By the evening, the post had over 200 shares. On Monday morning, the HOA office left me a voicemail. "This is a cease and desist order regarding your ongoing violations. Your actions are a willful disruption of community standards. Additional fines will be imposed daily until the displays are removed." They weren't happy. And that's when I realized they had just made their biggest mistake. Because the more they fought me, the more attention they brought to themselves. By Wednesday, a local news reporter showed up at my door. She'd seen the Facebook post and wanted to do a story on random acts of kindness facing HOA pushback. I agreed. That night, our story aired on the 6 o'clock news. By morning, my inbox was full of messages from strangers, people in other states sending photos of their HOA horror stories. The HOA board scheduled an emergency meeting. I showed up with a folder full of emails, letters from neighbors supporting me, and most importantly, a printout of the state statute that limited homeowners association fines for non-commercial activity. The meeting was tense. The board president, a man named Harold, cleared his throat. "Your snack tables violate our bylaws and must be removed." "With all due respect," I said, "your bylaws don't override state law. And under Section 42.11 of the Homeowners Protection Act, this falls under temporary charitable activity, which you cannot fine." Silence. A few neighbors in the audience clapped quietly. Harold's jaw tightened. "We'll consult legal counsel." "You do that," I said, standing up. "And while you're at it, you might want to check your email, because Channel 8 News is doing a follow-up story next week." A week later, the HOA sent me a formal letter. "After further review, the board has decided to rescind all fines associated with your snack table displays. We appreciate your contributions to the community and apologize for any misunderstanding." I framed that letter. And the tables? They stayed. Every Saturday, rain or shine. The HOA still watches me like a hawk, but they don't say a word anymore. Because now, half the neighborhood comes to the snack table, and they know if they try anything, they'll have the whole community to answer to. Sometimes the best revenge is kindness turned up so loud they can't ignore it. And sometimes the only way to win against petty rules is to make them look ridiculous in the light of day. My advice? Don't back down, find your allies, and never underestimate the power of cookies in a fight for what's right. And that is how a simple act of kindness turned into a neighborhood battle, and how one person's determination can spark change in an entire community. HOAs can try to fine, threaten, and intimidate, but they can't put a price tag on humanity. If you enjoyed this story, don't just click away. Show this channel some love. Hit that subscribe button, tap the like, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. Share this video with someone who's ever had to stand up to an HOA, or with anyone who just loves a good dose of justice served warm. Signing off for now, but you know me, I'll be back with more unbelievable HOA stories you won't hear anywhere else. Until then, stay strong, stay kind, and never let anyone bully you out of doing what's right. Bonus quote: "Rules exist to protect people, not to punish kindness."